I think, being a civilian, coming from the civilian world, in its own way, I have a perspective on what you guys do that you don't have, right? You guys have lived this world. This is who this is your DNA. And you guys have stories. And you have stories of the fallen.
Welcome back to Wake Up America. Our next guests have demonstrated bravery and valor in defense of our freedoms, and they're giving back to a debt that can never fully be repaid, looking to financially support families of fallen special operations soldiers get an education.
I think it's important that we are aware of the sacrifices, not only of what you guys have done, the fallen, their families. They pay a huge cost as well.
So recording one.
Do we need to press record or are you already recording?
Yes. Mike, can we get a test?
Test. So what I think we're doing is this, and yeah.
All right, Lacey, let me get a test for you.
All right, this is a test.
Yep.
How do we sound? Good?
All levels.
1, 2, 3, go. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
It's Saturday. It's early.
It is. I figured I would probably start with just the basics, right?
Yeah.
First of all, we're here to talk about Legacy Expeditions.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
To talk about legacy, you really got to go back. One, I served 20 years, both in the Marine Corps and SEAL teams, Recon Marine, then a Navy SEAL. And I ended up having to get a hip replacement at 41. I was pretty much 2 months sitting on a couch. And you have nothing but time to reflect. And we're active people, and I was very inactive. And I started to spiral and reassessing where my passions were. And I felt like I had just followed a path that doesn't uphold the guys, both living and dead, that I knew. And then I contacted a buddy named Andy Stumpf, said, hey, I want to do something big that upholds the memory, the legacy of our fallen by educating the legacy they left behind, which is their children. And that's where Legacy was born. And so we paired with Folds of Honor, which is a fabulous organization founded by Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney, who's an F-16 pilot. And they provide scholarships to spouses and the children of fallen and disabled veterans. And they give 91 cents on every dollar to the programs, which is unheard of. And we're like, you're the organization for us. Because the greatest gift you can give somebody is an education, but Legacy, and for all those involved, it's a passion project.
What Legacy Expeditions is doing has both a target type of purpose. So we know that we're gonna go do something hard. You're gonna go do 7 skydives in 7 continents in less than 7 days, or you're gonna go attempt to navigate the most challenging waters, or you're gonna come out here into some pretty gnarly terrain and you're gonna do some crazy stuff in this terrain. That's the purpose of what we're doing. But then there's a deeper purpose about what Legacy is doing, and that's honoring the legacy. It's remembering the sacrifice. It's honoring the sacrifice. When we served and when we did the challenging things that we did lose friends, we did lose our teammates. And that right there, when you lose somebody like that, there is a lot of pain and sadness that comes along with that.
We don't want to let their children just think that their father's memories or their mother's memories are done. So if Legacy can, one, serve 2 purposes: get veterans back together around what is a risky proposition, and then tell the stories of the fallen. There's a quote, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to stand by and do nothing. And the men, more so than me, that I served with, were willing to put their lives on the line to go forward and rid this world of evil. And so we've got to tell that story. And then if Americans can reach into their pocket and only give $1, Folds of Honor would be able to dole out scholarships to a lot of military families to make sure that their children, especially the ones that are not here, are educated. And so that's the mission, 100%. And I'm not going to stop. My wife may be watching this, so I got to be careful. If I bankrupt my family doing it, then that's what I'm going to do. On this trip, you have Andy Stumpf, who's been involved with Legacy. He was on 777. He was also part of Viking Sky and helping stand up the company. Andy is a retired Navy SEAL, former JSOC operator, very experienced at skydiving. He actually broke the wingsuit horizontal distance record. He has a top podcast called the Cleared Hot Podcast, which has a massive following. Then you've got Evan Hafer, former Green Beret, Army Special Forces. He's the founder and CEO of Black Rifle Coffee, which has become this massive company. You've got Mike Glover, retired Army Special Forces, again, Green Beret, who started Fieldcraft Survival, which is an amazing company helping civilians learn about how to protect themselves, how to be safe, how to survive in certain situations. He's got a massive podcast. Mike also is an experienced jumper, so he's going to be the drop zone safety officer, the guy running the drop zone, talking to the aircraft, letting us know the winds. You've got Eric Ballister, the expedition leader on this, who planned the majority of the expedition, the logistics, the schedule, the aircraft. I think Eric Ballister had like 10, 12 combat deployments. That guy gave everything. You've got Derek Van Boschotten, DV, Army Apache crew chief, the most experienced skydiver in terms of numbers, pilot, and so he actually was the pilot on the aircraft. You've got Joe Metzger. Joe is the 75th Ranger Regiment operator who started Voodoo Air after he finished his college degree. He's flying the helicopter from which we were jumping. You've got Mike Boots Barker, who we always refer to as Boots, a retired Navy SEAL who did more combat deployments than most people can imagine. You've got Tim Kennedy. And Tim Kennedy is a badass. Still an active Green Beret, about to pick up Sergeant Major. He's in the National Guard, the 19th Special Forces Group. Tim personifies a lot of what we expect from our special operations members. You got Pete Roberts, who's the founder and CEO of Origin, which all their products are made within the USA. Good American. You've got Larry Robinson, who is the Chief Impact Officer of Folds of Honor and who's been supporting Legacy and helping us stand this up for pretty much the inception. He's a coach and he's a mentor to me and a guy who, quite frankly, I couldn't have done this without. You got the Diesel Brothers, who are of the famous Diesel Brothers TV show, and we've all seen them make these just unimaginable diesel trucks. They heard about this and without asking for a dime said, hey, we want to support you guys, Heavy D and Diesel Dave. And they brought all their helicopters out to support us to jump from those as well. And then lastly, Dan Myrick, the Blair Witch Project, director, producer, which broke every indie record that will never be touched, create a whole genre of films. And Dan is the sweetest man you'll ever meet. And he came out of retirement for us to take this journey of telling the story of the fallen and the living to keep their legacies alive, and hasn't asked for a dime and has given us so much time for which I cannot repay him. And hopefully down the line, I can. It's amazing what happens when you sort of do these things and these Americans, these good Americans who never serve, that come out of the woodworks to support your mission. And so it's funny how the team just keeps growing. People are like, we love this concept, count us in, not asking for anything in return. And again, a testament to what all these guys have helped build Legacy into. You fill the bus with good people, amazing things happen.
I think good people gravitate towards good people, and I think at this point, the backside, the right side of the war on terror, right, 20 years at war, guys like Mike and Andy and Boots, all of us It's not a chip on our shoulder, it's like a burden to do good now. Men like this have dealt so much death and have done so many hard things. Now it's like it has to be for a reason, it has to be for a purpose. That's how I feel, and I'm trying to find ways to give back and to contribute to a community that has done amazing things for me and my family and has, countless times saved my life, like literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. Having an opportunity to be around people like this, it's like, yeah, absolutely, please, I'd love to. What are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna jump out of an airplane into an unknown drop zone, with like insane topography, and I'm in.
How high is that between the dock and the water? I'm stoked on that sandy bottom.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, shit.
As the world debates the military response, 19 days since the worst terror attack in Israeli history, its leaders are trying to frame the stakes, today laying bare the brutality in graphic detail.
October 7 in Israel happens, and the U.S. puts troops forward, especially special operations troops. And one of those special operations elements is the TF-160th, which is known as the Special Operations Aviation Regiment. They're also known as the Night Stalkers. These are the most experienced helicopter pilots in the world. And they've gotten us out of some very bad situations where they put one wheel down on the side of a building and the ramp down so that we can climb on and they can fly away. It was November 13th. We hear that while preparing to potentially become involved with what's going on in Israel and the Hamas conflict, there was a mechanical failure. And one of the helicopters goes down into the Mediterranean, and 5 very experienced special operations members are lost. And so it really threw meaning behind this, that those 5 service members gave their lives to be prepared to step into battle. But more importantly, the fact that somebody had to go knock on the door of those 5 family members and let them know that their loved ones will not be coming home.
There's somebody that you miss, that you love, that's no longer with us, that sacrificed, and sacrifice means something to this community.
We're working with what we got. This place has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, Eric, thank you.
Is anyone like rare steak?
This is something that means more than just, creating a really cool experience for veterans. Yeah, that's awesome and all, but being able to raise funds for an organization that's doing something to help honor the legacy of the fallen, by far is the most important thing that anyone in this group would say that is important to them.
My plan is to jump and pull and not crash. The plateau of the canyon is 1,000 feet above the bottom. So some math on the altimeters, some differences in wind speeds above the plateau during free fall, and then once you kind of get down to the canyon, you're gonna have like crossing winds. So, and then on the aviation side, we have multiple platforms with multiple pieces with lots of different jumpers and formations. So, it's a complex little operation, but fortunately those guys are wicked smart, and I'm dumb enough to know just the very few things that I have to do, which is pull at an appropriate safe altitude and land without dying.
Yeah, come on. He's a highly trained machine right here.
Well, you should work on that.
Okay, don't get that part. when you land, your altimeter will say -1,000 on this chart. AED set to 0. Yep.
My name is Derek Van Beschoten, pilot, master rigger, AFF instructor, tandem instructor, somewhere north of 10,000 skydives. I help out with each of the jumps if there's any issues with the gear or planning, and that varies from trip to trip. I also shoot free fall video for tandems or VIPs.
I'm going to go through this as fast as possible. DV, I'm going to need your help on this. Cool. It's going to be this north side of the runway. That's our release point. All right, the winds, the uppers are around 18 to 20 from the north. So our forward throw and our drift is going to kind of cancel each other out. Our burn off altitude right over here, right? Do not burn off over the river. Find yourself over the river, come across to the east side of the airstrip as quickly as possible. I'll reach across, don't worry about my hands, and then I'll shake you and be like, ready, set, go. And then we'll get big. And then we'll something like that.
When we served, we did lose friends, we did lose our teammates. When you lose somebody like that, there is a lot of pain and sadness that comes along with that, but there's so much love and there's so much positivity that comes to it because it's transformed, it's used to drive you to go do something that you would have never done, but from the aspect of doing it to raise awareness, to say, hey, these guys that we're remembering, they would have been right here with us right now. And as a matter of fact, we do feel their presence.
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was good. It was definitely different terrain than we're used to, the river.
So how'd all that go from the ground?
Really good. So from the ground perspective, the guy said at elevation, probably 500 feet above the ground, the surface, the wind's about 10, 15 miles an hour. So they're not getting as much penetration. Tim shallowed that, so he didn't get as much penetration as he was hoping for. Yeah, everybody else over-penetrated. Andy blew out the drop zone completely and landed too far to the right.
Oh, Andy was the first one down.
Yeah. He was, yeah. He was the aggressor. You see how aggressive he came in?
Yeah, he came in.
He was aggressive.
Well, you were supposed to fly a pattern that I could see that I was to copy. Instead, he went like this. Yeah, and then landed. I was like, that is not helpful whatsoever.
No, I saw you back there. I was like, these guys didn't give you any help.
Nothing. They gave me nothing.
So technically above sea level, we were at just below 18,000. So now we'll do some elevator drops. Just keep going up in the helo to about 6,000 jump, which will be interesting because some guys will naturally claw for air because you got to pick up relative speed.
Right.
So it's step off, just hold and let yourself pick up speed and then get stable and pull.
Joe Metzger. I was in 3rd Ranger Battalion and then contracted for 8 years afterwards. Now I'm a pilot flying helicopters. I started my company 2 years ago, but I've only been operating since April when I got delivery of the helicopter. So I've been living in MOAB just since April, but I've been coming here for 10 years, living in Salt Lake and Cedar City. The helicopter is such a cool thing because it turns the world into like, not like 3-dimensional, but like you can now, you know, where do you want to go? It's the magic carpet ride, you know? Also another thing that a lot of people get to do, so I try not to take those things for granted, you know? Every time you get in a helicopter or an aircraft, it's a challenge. Like you can't ever not be paying attention to what's going on. Or it's the same thing that I like the most about skydiving, because there's very few things where you're in the moment, really. During a free fall, I'm not thinking about the next day or when I get on the ground until the parachute opens or something. But when you're doing stuff and working, you're flying, you know?
I have confidence in that. So I'm a veteran, part of the big group of guys supporting all the things that Legacy Expeditions, Folds of Honor is doing. And so I typically would be jumping. I'm a free fall jump master for the military and skydive experience, but I just had 4 discs replaced in my spine from that service. So I'm out here trying to recover, even though it pains me more so to recover than it does not being in that plane. So I wish I was with the guys, but better safe than sorry.
So we've got 2 and 3. Andy and Tim are going in the Dolphin. Myself, DV, and Boots are going in the A-Star. You ready? All right. You did have the...
Right now, Legacy existence is based on our sponsors, good American companies that believe in our mission. And companies like Peter MD, founded and led by Dr. Brian Henry, who's a Marine veteran, Ryan Suraz, who is the founder of Savage Jerky, who was an Air Force Academy graduate as well as a Air Force veteran. You've got other companies like VA Claims Insider, which was founded by Brian Reese, another Air Force veteran, and Black Rifle Coffee, who's also a sponsor on this. Evan came out to actually support, which is rare to get the founder CEO of a major company out there. Mike Glover, Fieldcraft Survival, Sheepdog Response, which is Tim's Kennedy's company. So these companies have been instrumental in helping us pull off these expeditions.
But it's cool to get people together who have a background in doing things like this, who have moved away from it largely, and kind of reconnect with the people that they used to do it with from that community, and allowing them to reconnect with those people and the activities. And then at the same time, you can use whatever platform you may have, whatever voice you may have, to lateral that attention off to the nonprofits. You can just help pay it forward.
6 jumpers on the deck, all clear.
That's Eric.
my fault, was it?
Yeah! That's what I'm talking about!
Landing here would have been a lot.
Hey,
Mate,
Eric!
you should have fucking went for the runway.
Look!
What? Can you help Timmy? Because we're going to need to get him over here to get that picture taken.
Is he not going to make it?
No.
Can somebody drive over there?
No, you'll be good right there. That's where he landed last time, or a couple times before. Soft landing though.
Yeah.
Go in the trees, Tim!
Don't go in the trees.
All right, here we go.